And if you're an obnoxious sort of person before awakening, you'll be an obnoxious person after awakening. If you're a kind, gentle, loving soul before enlightenment, you'll be that way after enlightenment. It's not the personality that disappears, it's the ego.
How does one's personality affect their ability to access higher consciousness?
Well, the personality doesn't really stop anything unless it's programmed to. If you've been programmed to contract every time something doesn't agree with you, well, your consciousness levels are going to stay pretty low, because consciousness levels rise as a result of seeing through the mind. But when we're contracting, we don't see anything. We just see our belief system that set us off in the first place. And so it's very important to develop a mind that is cool, or not uptight, more relaxed. And this serves higher consciousness. But the personality itself isn't a problem. It's how the personality has been programmed. A personality that doesn't contract every time something goes on that it doesn't agree with is the sort of personality that will support higher consciousness. But I don't think many of us were programmed that way by our parents or by our schooling. And so it's something we have to learn at a later age, which is difficult because it needs to become a default pattern. And default patterns take time to develop. They don't just happen overnight.
In your opinion, what personality traits support spiritual growth the most?
Totality. People who are total in whatever they do in life usually succeed. People who are partial quite often fail. So totality is part of the formula for success in any endeavor we get involved in, whether it's sport, music, business, higher consciousness. Totality rules.
How can I go about developing integrity if I've spent years lying to myself?
Sounds like it's time to get honest with yourself. You have to become ruthless with your own mind. You can't allow it to lie to itself. You've got to pick it up every time and change it. Otherwise, the lying continues, because the lying will be a default pattern. Ruthless honesty for the mind is essential for higher consciousness. You can't have a mind that bullshits you. That doesn't work. And it's up to you to supply that ruthless honesty, because someone else can't do it for you. Sometimes it's called ruthless integrity. Doesn't necessarily have to happen on the outside, but it definitely has to happen on the inside. You've got to be straight with yourself. Yep.
Yes. What happens to personality structures after awakening?
After someone wakes up and stays awake, the personality structures that are in place are probably benign. They probably don't get in the way, because all the ones that did get in the way have actually been removed or replaced. And so the personality doesn't change much after enlightenment. People think, well, you become a saint or something. That's a load of rubbish. Your personality will still be there and you'll operate in the world from it. It's not the personality that disappears, it's the ego, the sense of being a somebody, the I thought. That disappears, the personality remains. And if you're an obnoxious sort of person before awakening, you'll be an obnoxious person after awakening. If you're a kind, gentle, loving soul before enlightenment, you'll be that way after enlightenment. But it will be your personality It won't be some other sages. It's not like suddenly you become like Ramana Maharshi or Osho or some other awake person who you know of. That's not what happens. Your personality stays, and you meet the world with your personality. Without the personality, you couldn't operate in the world. But the sense of I disappears. No I, no problem.
Can strong traits like ambition or intensity be used on the path?
Well, there's only one ambition that's worth supporting if you're on the path, and that's the ambition for freedom. Because you've got to remember that ambition is a form of discomfort. It's a form of suffering, in fact, because you're not happy with what is. That's why you're ambitious. Ambitious people are admired in Western society, but all we're doing is admiring someone who's basically very discontent. Otherwise, they wouldn't be ambitious, which is laughable when you think about it.
Is humility something I can cultivate, or does it come through awareness?
When you try to cultivate humility, you become a fake, a fraud. Humility happens as a result of lack of ego. The less ego that's there, the less arrogance there is, the more humility there is. People who try to cultivate humility usually end up being absolute fakes. The absence of the I. When you start denying the I, when you start waking up, finding yourself as beingness, the I disappears, and there is nothing but humility, because you're not trying to be a somebody anymore. You're not trying to prove yourself to the world anymore. You're actually perfectly okay with whatever is. Profoundly content for no reason. So true humility is a result of enlightenment, or a result of there being a lack of ego. You find in most spiritual circles, people that pretending to be humble. This is what I call the spiritual pong. It stinks. You put these people under pressure and see what happens.
Jordan Peterson is a clinical psychologist known for exploring the role of personality in shaping human experience. I'd love to hear your response to a few of his thoughts.
Okay.
The first quote: "The better ambitions have to do with the development of character and ability, rather than status and power. Status you can lose. You carry character with you wherever you go."
Well, character's developed through repetition. It's a default pattern. So people can have a bad character or a good character depending on what they've been practicing. If you've been practicing being a dickhead, you'll have a bad character. If you practice being kind and generous and loving, you'll probably have a good character. But when you tie in ambition with character, you're tying in bad character straight up. Because ambitious people aren't happy. They're not satisfied with life. Ambition is dissatisfaction with life, wanting something more and more and more. And so I wonder if Jordan Peterson has ever examined ambition.
The next quote: "You should never sacrifice what you could be for what you are."
Who said this?
Jordan Peterson.
A guy that's not awake. How would he know? If you're not awake, how would you know what you are? He's stolen that from some spiritual master who's awake and thinking that it sounds really wise. And it's actually true, but it's you can't say that if you're not awake, because how would you know?
Here's another quote: "The successful among us delay gratification and bargain with the future."
Hasn't been my way. My way has always been, particularly when I was in business, if you haven't got enough money, you just make more. You know, if you spend all your money on things, you just make more money. Don't limit yourself. The sky is actually the limit. The sky is the limit. People put boundaries in place for what they can and can't do. It's craziness. Human beings are amazing creatures if they're not limited by belief systems that are limiting.
Here's another quote. You can only find out what you actually believe rather than what you think you believe by watching how you act.
Yeah, that's true. He's talking about having the silent witness that watches the mind without judgment. That's actually true. Witnessing the mind shows you what the mind is up to, no matter what. Unless you have a dishonest mind. And then it's very difficult. That's why having a mind that has integrity, at least with itself, is so important.
And the last quote. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today.
I don't like the idea of comparing full stop. It just makes people dissatisfied. Why make yourself feel dissatisfied by comparing yourself with others or what you were like the day before in case you were better the day before? You know, why make yourself unhappy? I don't agree with that at all. Comparison sucks.